Victory puppies, boys, this is an IOU, as in the Leafs owe Jack Campbell. Am I right? No, there's no more. There's no more. Charlie. I know there should be more. There should be.
Hi, kids.
Victorious puppies.
This team is ruining my life.
Why do I watch hockey? Stress relief.
We can, and we will. Hey everybody, sorry about the last game. I don't like doing that. That's my first LFR that I've missed in like 6 or 7 years, something like that. It's not something I like doing, but it was appropriate. Yesterday morning we found out that my wife's grandfather died, and we were obviously very sad about that, and family first and everything, right? But it was all handled very Scottish. A few minutes of tears followed by ripping on each other and laughing, so it was alright. So, without further ado, I want to go through the past 2 games quickly. I'm not going to have the same fire that I usually do, and maybe it's a good thing. I'm watching the Ducks game, right? Everything's going great. Andreas Johnsson scored a goal assisted by Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner, and it was a pretty good one. Jack Campbell allowed his first goal in a Leaf uniform from Nicolas Delorier, and I was sad about it, but I'm like, well, it wasn't 3. Second period starts, and John Tavares scores a power play goal because being wrong is the oldest tradition humanity has. Followed soon after by Mitch Marner passing it over to John Tavares over to Austin Matthews, and Austin Matthews to the back of the net, and then Sportsnet being fined for showing actual straight-up porn on national television. I'm just kidding. It was a regional game. It wasn't national. And then, just as we all predicted, in stereotypical Leaf fashion, they shut it down with a nice boring trap style, and Jack Campbell made a couple spectacular saves to lead the Leafs to victory. Kidding! The Leafs duct taped Jack Campbell to the goalpost and hope for the best. First, the Leafs get a power play. That's good. Hey, Max Jones with the T-Pain. Shouty! No, is that reference out of date? He hasn't made a song in a long time, whatever. And then Sheldon Keefe takes a timeout to like sort of, hey guys, it's cool, which is a totally normal thing to have to do when your team has a lead on home ice and is on the power play, as I Google what the nearest ocean is to simply walk into it. Adam Henrique scores on the power play, you betcha. Oh, but it's okay, Jason Spezza turns the clock back against Ryan Miller. This was my night, by the way. I had hockey Friday night. The Leafs had just tied it when I had to get in the car, and I'm angry, and I'm roughly putting my bag in the car, and I turn it on, and Spezza scores that goal, and I'm like, alright, I'm not even halfway to the arena, and Derek Grant scores! And the person in front of me on the highway probably thought I was screaming at them and was like, I'm doing the I don't know. And then in overtime on the power play, John Tavares scores again because you're wrong, so wrong, I barely even celebrate. I say a couple swear words and then get on the ice. And it's such a shame. Like, I really wanted the Leafs to pull it out against Montreal because I was going to talk about that. Because the original plan was to just get on camera and yell and scream about how I kind of wish the Leafs had lost. They shouldn't have even been rewarded for that terrible third period performance. It wasn't a carbon copy of the collapse against Florida. It was worse. And then what happened, and I realized, you know what? Life's too short to not celebrate the victories in all their alleged ugliness. A win is a win. You never know how many you're going to get. Also, the original plan that has since changed is I really wanted the Leafs to beat Montreal because I was going to be a jerk. A complete jerk about it. Here's why. I tweeted, 3 of the Leafs' 4 games against Montreal this season, and we just played the 3rd one, are on the second half of back-to-backs with travel, which is good and not completely stupid at all. And my replies got bombed because facts are hard. Facts are very hard. They're one of the hardest things in life, is accepting facts, and that is one of them. And I was on my Michael Scott nonsense. I had all my burns prepared. Ilya Kovalchuk has been red hot since joining the Montreal Canadiens. The only thing that looks like it can slow him down is signing a multi-year contract with them. Boom, roasted. What does my athletic career have in common with the Montreal Canadiens? Neither of us have won a championship since 1993. Boom, roasted. And the Leafs went ahead and ruined that by completely choking in the 3rd period again. John Tavares scored in this game, by the way. Again, wrong. Leafs choked again, and they did. They choked. That's what it was. Don't call it not a choke. Facts are not as hard as they seem. They had a multi-goal lead in the third period. They had 2 leads in the third period against the Anaheim Ducks, and they led almost the entire third period against the Montreal Canadiens. The Leafs were outshot 15-4 in the third period against the Anaheim Ducks, which is terrible, and they'll never do it again, except it was topped the next night 16-1 against the Montreal Canadiens. I don't care if the Leafs scored on the 1. That's abysmal. 31-5 in the third period in a span of 24 hours. And Jack Campbell taking the blame after the game. Jackstopher. How dare you? Do we deserve Jack Campbell? He seems so genuine and innocent. You can tell he tries his ass off on every single play, even when the boys in front of him don't. Third period. I hope you and your family are doing well. Oh, that wasn't part of what I wanted. Thank you, Brandon. A goalie who seems genuinely nice and stops pucks and tries so hard only to be let down by his teammates. Oh, Jack, you're bringing back the nostalgia, buddy. After the past 24 hours, Jack owes the team nothing. The 3-3 tying goal from Anaheim. He made an amazing save only to have it whacked out of the air. What are you gonna do? That's used way too often as an excuse for goalies. That one was pretty genuine, man. I really like this from Tic Tac Tomar. Piccolo is Jack Campbell, and there's the Leafs, and Tic Tac Tomar, you're such a nerd. And I love you. And if you don't get this, I feel bad for you. Because what'd you have in school, huh? A social life? You weirdo? There's... what's going on with these guys? Why doesn't this team care enough? I don't think it's a matter of caring. I think Seldo was a little closer. Because you watch some teams, right? You watch the Detroit Red Wings, for example. That's a bad team. That's how that works. They're a bad team. Some teams are absent of skill or of finish or of they just lack. With the Leafs, I think it is 150% mental. 31-5 in the third period over the past 2 games. They led almost the entire time in both of those games. The first 40 against Florida, the first 40 against the Ducks, and the first 40 against the Habs. That's 3 of the last 4 games were 6 of the Leafs' best defensive periods we've seen, with really no sacrifice to goal scoring, except for the Montreal game. Carey Price! Not much of a sacrifice to shots on goal or shot attempts. And you can look at it and go, well, maybe CC wasn't as bad as you thought, or, well, they got a young D-pair back there. I think it is between the ears and behind the eyebrows. It's in their head. I have a hard time believing Sheldon Keefe is standing behind the bench going, all right, so it's the third period, here's what you need to do. Nothing. You need to stop doing things and profit. I mean, they weren't playing their best, and they still got 3 out of 4 on a back-to-back, which I think we would have killed for at certain parts of the season. They didn't have Nylander either of these games because he was sick. Teams miss guys, man, and they were fine until the third. Like, what is Willie, the shutdown winger now? He's a good player and you need more players, but that doesn't explain 31-5. Yeah, maybe he's not the only one who's sick. I don't know. But where I was going with that, so some teams just don't have it. They don't have it at all. The Leafs have it. They have it, man. This is where the problems are coming from. Every Jack Campbell save was like a big warm hug. They have Sunday off. They have Monday off, and then they have Tuesday against the Coyotes. Matthews didn't score against the Habs. He loves showing up against the Coyotes. Please, Austin, dunk on them. And please, Willie be back, and please, Freddie be back, and please, guys who are in the lineup, those 6 guys back there on D, figure it out. You have the ability. We know you do. You can do it. One last thing I do want to shout out. Thank you so much for all your messages. That was very kind yesterday on a variety of platforms. On Reddit, someone came up with the idea to make a donation to the Marner Jar. All proceeds, by the way, going to Sick Kids Hospital. And last I checked, there was over $1,000 raised, which is... that's mind melting. Mind melting. I think the term I'm looking for is extremely kind and generous, so thank you. And we got a new podcast coming later today, so I'll wrap this up here. That is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Hopefully we get back to normal on Tuesday.